One teams that registered for U18 qualifiers for the girls and boys. We had 16 teams of those 31 join us here in Leduc for the Provincial, and now 8 of you are in the playoffs. So it's a huge achievement to be here, and you should be really proud. As always, on Team Alpha, on our 3-4 state playoff, Team Duncan from the North Hill, Rocky, and Section Curling Club. Also from the North Hill Curling Club, Team Clark. In our boys 1-2 state playoff, from the Crestwood and Sherwood Park Curling Club, Team Hlushak. And from the Chapel Community Sports Center, Team Hennig. Our girls 1-2 state playoff on Team Foxtrot, we have from the Oak Calgary Winter Curling Club, Team Dewey. And from the Red Deer and Mohawk Curling Club, Team Stormo. Playoff for the girls from the North Hill and Crestwood Curling Club, Team Yurko. Sports Center and Macomb Curling Club, Team Skipper. On behalf of all of us at Curling Alberta and all of our umpires, best of luck, good curling, and the game community.
And we welcome you all to our 1-2 page playoff game here in Leduc, Alberta for the 2025 Curling Alberta Optimist U18 Provincial Championships. We are live on scene. Introductions are over and done with. Handshakes have been completed, and our first stones are just moments away from this incredible matchup between our top 2 teams in Team Peter Hlushak and Team Austin Hennig. Now, I am joined by Hayley Adams and Abby Whitbread. My name is Evan Asmussen, and we have a ton of great curling for you this evening across our whole venue and across all these sheets. But ladies, the round robin is over and done with. We have our 4 teams decided after round robin play, and these are our top 2 teams in the field. What are we looking for here, Abby, as these teams get settled in and as Hugo Chow takes his first slide down the ice? And I'm not quite sure if we have Abby or Hayley in, as we are still sorting out some technical. But let me give an introduction to both of these teams as we get settled in for our color commentary. Throwing the yellow stones and without the hammer here in the first end is Team Hennig, skipped by Austin Hennig. Third, Preston Russell. Second, Matthew Reiniger. And lead Hugo Chow with their coach, Chris Power. They curl out of the Saville Sports Center in Edmonton, Alberta. And throwing the red stones from the Crestwood Sherwood Park curling clubs, we have skip Peter Hlushak, third Jackson Hebert, Varick Depker throwing second stones, Parker Harris, alternate Nate Burton, coach Reg Reinhardt, and they retained the hammer due to the virtue of their 7-0 round robin record. And Abby and Hayley, do we have you live here with us already?
Yes, you do.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, so we're back in action here. We have our viewers getting settled in and ready to go as Hugo Chow puts that first stone into play. And we have that red stone of Team Hlushak in the top of the 4-foot. What are we looking for out of Team Hennig here as they come into this 1-2 playoff game as the second seed? Abby, give us a go roundabout with Team Hennig.
They were our feature game last game. We saw some aggressive play as they came back from a comeback win there. For sure, definitely showed lots of resiliency. So super excited for an intense game here tonight.
And when we take a look at Team Hlushak, they have led the pack all week at 7-0, and they seem to have not met any real competition, at least scoreboard-wise. However, Team Hennig looking to change that tonight. What might we see out of Team Hlushak as they look to retain their winning streak?
They've been doing great all week. I think just keeping on with that momentum and that flow, and looking to see some intensity here from them as well.
So for our viewers at home, this is First End Action, and you'll see on our presenting screen that we have multiple views for you. There are multiple sheets underway. Both page playoff games for the men's side and the ladies' side are being played simultaneously, so you will hear that noise. But if you want to check it out, you are more than welcome to look at the other feature game on the ladies' side or the other available games at Curling Stadium or through Curling Alberta's YouTube channel. Ladies, you're on the call tonight. You're tracking the stones. I'm here just to look beautiful, even though nobody can see me. So let's get this game underway, a very open end to start.
Yeah, both teams keeping it clean here already. Just figuring out these ice paths and should get going pretty soon here. Eric here just looking for that hit.
Just rolling to the wing, running around.
Nice shot there to get a different path for Team Hennig here.
Now, Hayley and Abby, we've been kind of watching the sheets all week, and you've been on site, and I've been here at my home getting the pleasure of commentating these games from the comfort of my wardrobe. But we have noticed that these top teams, including Team Hlushak and Hennig, being able to find a winning record mainly from their precision and the importance of keeping those open hits and those simple shots in play. What are some of the key differences that you've noticed in these two teams that has separated them from the field this week?
Yeah, definitely. Just think that concentration and really knowing when to push and when to make those aggressive calls has worked for both teams so far this week. And yeah, looking to see some great play here.
So for our viewers at home, both of these teams took a little bit of a different way into our page playoff. Peter Hlushak's team, with a 7-0 record, got the direct spot to the first seed and also gets the last stone advantage in this first game, or in this game of the page playoff, based upon their exceptional record at 7-0 versus Team Hennig, who had to win this afternoon in order to get them into this page playoff game and in this position itself at a 4-3 record.
Preston there with the hit and roll out. See Jackson here look to make that draw to the wing and get that draw away under his belt.
So Abby, I noticed that Peter has been moving the broom across the sheet, getting his team to put these rocks in different spots. Why not just draw to the top of the button here?
Yeah, so this can be used for both his team and used against the other team. So for him, he's learning every different path here, trying to figure out if there are any weird spots, any ridges anywhere. And then for the other team, this is forcing them to throw spots that they're not as familiar with, and different spots that might give them an early miss.
Wonderful draw by Jackson Hebert, splitting the tee line over to the left-hand side of the sheet as we see it. Parker Harris with a big yawn. These are long games, and for our spectators who are watching and tuning in, this is the second game for these teams today. And the last time that Team Hlushak and Team Hennig have met was on our first draw of play way back on Thursday, where Team Hlushak came out with I guess I'm going to say, a very large win in their opening game. It was a 9-1 decision. But we might see a little bit of a different result today, won't we?
Yeah, I think after a long week here, teams are way more comfortable with the ice and know what to expect.
Jackson Hebert being asked to replicate that shot into the rings, just coming up a little bit light, and an opportunity for Team Hennig to establish themselves here without the hammer and put some early pressure on Peter as he goes into skip stones. Now, why not just peel this red one out, take a blank away, and save some time on the clock?
Yeah, it's definitely an aggressive call here from Team Hennig. Definitely looking to force here or even steal.
Especially with these games being so tight, you won't get a lot of misses. So when you get that half miss there, it's really nice to take advantage of that and try to go hard for your steal.
Exactly right.
So taking our first look here at Austin Hennig in our end number 1 of page playoff play. Looking to draw around that corner guard just thrown and left short of the rings by Jackson Hebert. Sweepers like the speed early. Hugo Chow down on the pressure clean. Matthew on the outside trying to promote a little bit of curl. It looks like it's starting to take that curl now as Hugo jumps in to keep that stone straight. Does look like they let it curl a little too much as it wrecks on that top red stone just left there by Team Hlushak. And now an opportunity here for Hlushak to establish a stone deep in behind that yellow rock.
Yeah, that's definitely where the risk comes in with playing that shot, because now Team Hlushak can potentially look at a 2 here.
Peter Hlushak with his opening stone here in page playoff play, the 2025 Provincial Championship. Him and his team are going to be working to find a nice piece of that top 8 foot fully buried behind that yellow. So both sweepers recognizing that it is a little bit light early and exchanging opportunities at skip stones here. So Abby, you're the skip of your team, and you've been doing it for a very long time now. And early on in the end, these are a couple of uncharacteristic misses for both Austin and for Peter, and I'm sure they both want them back, but is there anything that they might be seeing that we're not, or anything that we're seeing that they're not, or is this just first end figuring out the ice?
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit of both for sure. That's a big part of the first end, is figuring out every single path, and both skips might have caught a bit of a slower path there. Might not have thrown a whole bunch down that outside in path during their practice, so
Austin Hennig with his final stone here in end number 1, looking to draw around that situation there to the right of our screen and put some early pressure and establish a force with the hammer for Team Hlushak. Sweepers are off this early. However, Chow has gotten down on that stone as it enters into the free guard zone. And it looks like they just rubbed maybe a small side of that yellow guard previously thrown and exposing the yellow stone, leaving an opportunity for a blank end. So if you're Team Hlushak, you're probably pretty happy with this result after a light draw attempt by Jackson Hebert just a few stones ago. This is a pretty good outcome, no?
Definitely, yeah. This was the goal, so good to get that back on track.
Both Harris and Epker off the stone here as it makes contact with the stone. Rolls out, and we have a blank end here, folks, as we leave the first end and head on into commercial break. We'll see you back at the start of the second end.
Handcrafted in Canada, Artline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Artline, join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
Abby Whitbread, Hayley Adams, and myself welcome you back to our 1-2-page playoff game here in Leduc, Alberta, brought to you through Curling Stadium Live. Ladies, first end, business as usual for both teams. With the blank from Peter Hlushak to carry the hammer forward into the second end. And we're looking at lead stones here by Hugo Chow to begin this second end.
Yeah, it looks like Team Hennig looking to bring this one top four here. Start off another clean end.
So that rock lands itself just in the top 12 foot thrown by Hugo Chow, as Peter Hlushak has chosen to ignore the stone and throw up the corner guard with Parker Harris's first rock. Is this a strategy that we were to expect coming out of Hlushak?
Yeah, I think so. In the second end here, if they don't place that one in the 4 foot, I think this is pretty expected. And I think this is where Team Hlushak has seen a lot of their success, is playing aggressive early, but not dangerously.
So stone coming into the free guard zone. Jackson Hebert trying to get a little bit of curl out of it. Maybe get some extra distance to slow it down. Parker does slip into the rings. A small mistake there from Parker Harris. But again, we know that those leads are usually guinea pigs, for lack of a better term, as they're trying to, as a team, figure out the paths.
So Team Hennig looking to remove that red stone.
And a great hit and roll made by Hugo Chow as that yellow stone rolls itself into the side of the yellow stone at the top of the rings. We're now seeing Peter elect to clear these up. So Abby, Peter identifying a little bit of danger in those two zones. Why not throw the corner guard again?
Yeah, leaving those two up there allow for Team Hennig to either wrap another one around or throw center guard, and that puts Team Hlushak in a lot of trouble and ultimately forcing them to a single point.
So unable to remove both stones, Parker Harris, overlapping that yellow stone that was left by Hugo Chow. And now we are seeing Matthew make the attempt to draw around the combination at the top of the rings.
So a bit of a mistake there from Team Hennig, allowing Team Hlushak to potentially sit there too here, set up a deuce.
Now, do you think that's just as a result of playing that much further outside of the 8-foot paths or those draw to the button paths, or are we seeing something maybe unique to this sheet so far?
I think just that comes with the uncertainty of the paths and just being this early up in the game, still figuring out those slight differences between those turns.
Varric Depker making the attempt to remove that yellow stone, catching a little bit of an over curl, and that red stone that was frozen connected to that stone just thrown by Matthew Reiniger. And it did promote a yellow stone to the back of the 4-foot, back of the 8-foot, but leaving 2 yellow stones in play. So a draw here by Matthew Reiniger to try to get buried behind that just off center guard that they have at the top of the rings, and comes a little bit deep. So Hayley, Peter's identifying a little bit of trouble with those 2 rocks back there and asking Varric to remove them. Why not just play the draw?
I think still tied up this early in the game, important when you notice those problem rocks there. Just it's definitely okay to bail here with hammer and just hope to get out of this end and then be more aggressive going away in the third.
So Varric Depker just missing the double, but getting rid of one of the stones at the back of the 4-foot and exposing that score zone a little bit further. However, another draw attempt here for Preston Russell and Team Hennig to continue to force the envelope for Team Hlushak.
Looks like this one's sliding a little bit heavy. Just through the rings. So Team Hlushak, another attempt at the straight hit. Looks like they're opting to throw the run back here. So Jackson Hebert with the big weight. Actually just stuffing it.
So a ton of speed being able to be generated by Jackson Hebert and Team Hlushak. Unfortunately, just jamming it back and keeping that yellow stone in play, biting the back of the 4-foot. But also rolling their stone to the center line. And we see our first coaches interaction here by Chris Power and Austin Hennig in trying to figure out how they're going to utilize the situation to their advantage. So Hayley, walk us through what Chris Power may have consulted Austin Hennig with as they prepare to put some pressure on Team Hlushak.
Yeah, just probably talking about that perfect spot and ensuring Austin knows to communicate that down to his team there and just making sure everyone's on the same team here about where the ideal spot is, because this is a big opportunity for Team Hennig to put that pressure on. And just ensuring everyone's aware of that opportunity there.
So Preston Russell coming up a little bit short as that rock curls over to the center line, just in front of the center line guard from Team Hlushak. And Hayley, you talked a little bit there about what Chris Power may have consulted with in Austin Hennig, and you made an allude to the tolerance of the shot. Would where that yellow stone just thrown by Preston Russell been within that tolerance?
It may have, yeah, here still tied, but I think tolerance might have been leaving that rock a little, once they understood that rock was a little light, maybe potentially leaving that a little wider there so they could block a piece of their draw there. Yeah, for sure, tolerance would have definitely been a part of that conversation from Chris there, for sure.
So Jackson Hebert with an attempt to remove that yellow stone as it was left open partially from the Preston Russell guard that we see on our screen, but not able to remove it, pushing it out of the 4-foot, but landing it in the back of the 8 back 12, and still a little bit under cover. So exchanging some slight errors and pressure back on Hlushak with a good shot here by Team Hennig.
Yeah, this is another big opportunity for Team Hennig to hopefully force Team Hlushak to a single point.
Now, Abby, I don't want to seem critical as we're watching Austin throw his first stone here in the second end, but we just saw Preston come up a little bit short after a consultation with Chris Power, and I see that Austin is electing to choose a different path. Why not play the same path that he just saw Preston throw?
Yeah, it's definitely a bold call here. I think what Austin is thinking is if he does come up that little bit light, he should be guarding his back 8 rock there.
Austin Hennig here with his first stone and without the hammer in end number 2 of this 1-2-page playoff game. The winner of this game will go directly to tomorrow's final, as with the loser of this game will, I believe, have another opportunity to play in the semifinal against the winner of the 3-4-page playoff game, which is happening on our other link on Curling Alberta's YouTube page between Evan Clark and Nolan Duncan. So both teams still recognizing that there is life beyond this game, but you sure would love to win this one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's
For sure.
exactly right. Along with winning this game comes a trip to Nationals guaranteed. So that takes place in Saskatoon.
So talk to us a little bit, Abby and Hayley, about that. You know, you mentioned that just winning this game gets a team to the trip to Nationals. So fill us in and fill our viewers in a little bit more.
Well, yeah, so in Alberta now with that change, the top 2 teams from this Provincials head on to Nationals in Saskatchewan there. And we personally have been in a game like this. It's hard to keep that in the back of your mind and not focus too much on that big prize there, but just important to understand you still have a game to win here and just try to not let that control your emotions as much as you can, although it is tough.
So Depker and Harris watching the Hlushak rock all the way down as they recognize it is a little bit heavy. And we do see Austin Hennig with an opportunity to apply some further pressure with that stone going through the rings. Now it does look on our overhead that it is only the one Hennig stone at the back of the 8-foot sitting shot rock for the moment. But Team Hennig is looking to really cut down that scoring area.
See Team Hennig switching up the turn again here. So playing the same path here that Preston played. So we'll hopefully see a little bit of communication from the front end here, letting Austin know what to expect
final stone for Austin Hennig here in end number 2. Without the hammer, looking to apply some pressure and force Team Hlushak into taking their single point. But a good stone here will leave them in a position to steal this end. How many we're unsure of right now, as both Reiniger and Chow walk alongside this path here. And Hebert takes the sweep for that stone out the rings. And a missed opportunity. So Hayley, you are an expert reader in the paths, and you would know better than anyone else that as stones continue to go down the same track or down that same path, that the ice and the speed of that sheet or that path seems to change. So maybe getting a little bit caught there?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
We also might have seen both teams get a little bit scared off by Preston's rock there, stopping just short of the house.
So Team Hlushak risking it with the steal to take on the blank opportunity. They slash that stone in to the red. It just misses that stone at the back and a blank opportunity. So it will be a steal of 1 for Team Hennig as we head into the third, and Hennig leading 1-0. Hlushak will retain the hammer as we come back from commercial break.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So we are back here, entering the third end of action in our page playoff 1-2 game versus Team Hlushak and Team Hennig. And a missed opportunity by Team Hlushak to score their 1 point as they elected to try the peel blank. And Abby and Hayley, we had a small discussion during the commercial break about that choice by Team Hlushak, and obviously they found some confidence and comfort throughout their week to build themselves up to that point and to attempt that shot. But statistically, we know that scoring in the second end seems to bode well for most teams. So talk to us a little bit about that decision-making process by Team Hlushak, and what are your thoughts on not taking the draw possibility there?
For sure, scoring those even ends is important to maintain that hammer in those even ends, but it is up to team preference. I also think it can be noted that making that draw and having Peter get that draw weight could also help with his confidence and keep that going throughout the game. Whereas trying that blank attempt, and with that miss, that might play a part on his confidence going out through the game. So interesting call there, but yeah, for sure looking to keep that hammer in third and hoping to generate their 2 this way.
So we've been providing you coverage all week here through Curling Stadium Live. We have Tim Burton and Oliver Burton doing our production. They've been doing a fabulous job this week and then able to make this curling comfortable for you wherever you go, whether you're on the road, well, maybe not literally on the road, or at your homes. But just with the angle of this sheet that we're broadcasting today, it made me a little nervous watching Peter choose that shot, as if he just missed it, there was an opportunity to promote another yellow stone into play. So Hugo Chow and Parker Harris up to their usual rotten business of making every shot possible as the corner guard goes up by Team Hlushak, being down 1 point in the third end, and Hennig having 2 stones in the control zone. Peter Hlushak asking Verek Depker to make that double, if not maybe get a hit and roll behind their corner guard as well.
So Parker Harris with the double attempt there, and just touching the back one, not enough to remove it from play.
And my apologies, that was Parker Harris and not Verek Depker. And they look nothing alike, too, as well. But Parker Harris leaving his rock just outside of the rings, and it is in the free guard zone, so it's unable to be addressed by Team Hennig. So Hennig is going to elect to go around this stone, left by Parker Harris's double attempt. So a missed double attempt, it does push that yellow stone into the open, but a consolation of having another guard in the free guard zone.
So Team Hennig just getting that rock by that center guard, sliding to the back forefoot. Looks like Team Hlushak here deciding between splitting that top one or coming to the back forefoot.
Now, Abby, we're only in the third end, and you talked about scoring in the even ends and how important they do become, especially because these games are only 8 ends, too, as well. And we also see that Hennig is only up by 1 point. But Hlushak being a little aggressive here with this call, no?
Yeah, I think, this is definitely a bold call. But looking at the angle of those 2 yells, it's pretty hard to get rid of both of them and sticker shooter, so I'm definitely not opposed to this.
Jackson Hebert on the outside sweep, trying to get some more curl action with the directional sweeping. Parker Harris guiding that stone to get a little bit extra out of the distance. Verek Depker able to put that right at the top of the button, completely buried as we see it in our overhead screen. And a wonderful shot by Team Hlushak.
Yeah, that was a great team shot there.
Mm-hmm.
So Team Hennig looking to follow them in here.
So one thing our viewers at home they'll recognize is that on some of these lighter weight shots, we see Parker Harris walking alongside the opposition stones. Fill us in a little bit about what the thinking is behind Parker's actions.
Well, as a lead, I'm sure he's very comfortable with knowing his role as that path reader and making sure each rock that he walks up with, he gets just that better view and better viewpoint. And that is the perspective he takes as a sweeper as he goes up. So just making sure he's reading as much of the ice as possible and getting everything out of each shot. Additionally, making sure he has great accurate time so he can transmit that feedback back to his back end. So
rocks starting to pile up into the scoring area here in our third end. And Team Hlushak recognizing that some of those yellows are in a really great spot at the top of the rings, looking to promote one of their red stones into play and set up some different angles. Great tap by Debker, promoting that red stone that was just outside of the rings to the top of the four. It does stand at this point that Team Hlushak is sitting first and second shot. Yellow does still have some nice stones to work with as we have our coaches' interaction with Team Hennig and Chris Power. So for our viewers at home who are just tuning in, who haven't been following along with the U18 Championship, the coaches' interaction is an opportunity for the coaches who are on the outside of our glass and behind the sheets. They have once an end opportunity to consult with their team, eliminating that timeout process and becoming an extremely valuable resource for our developing athletes as they continue to grow in the game, but also work to understand through the pressures of being in a page playoff process and a provincial championship. Preston Russell with the run back attempt to remove a few of those red rocks out of play. He makes contact, but just misses those red rocks on the way by, rolling his shooter out of play.
Looks like Team Hlushak looking to make a little bit of separation between those red rocks, as there is a pretty simple double there.
So big sweep out of Debker as Jackson Hebert looks to remove that yellow stone and rolls underneath his own corner guard. An excellent shot by Team Hlushak, as red sits first, second, and maybe fifth as we see it. So I'm not quite sure I missed a call. I believe that was a double on those two red stones from Team Hennig to get those stones moved off of the forefoot, but it does catch that corner guard just over curling and removes that other stone out of play for Team Hennig. And Hlushak with the hammer and an opportunity here.
Yeah, that definitely was a bit of an unfortunate mistake there. I think the tolerance there would probably have been to miss a little bit wider and just catch the back one, but unfortunately removing the guard and their own stone gives Peter Hlushak a big opportunity for a multiple here.
So Jackson Hebert with his final stone here in end number 3, looking to put this red stone in a really great position at the top of the rings and change those angles a little bit. So red is sitting 3 at the moment, but is there an opportunity for Hennig to do some damage?
Yeah, I think with those angles, you definitely get rid of 2 with some weight, and you might even be able to get rid of a 3rd one.
So Abby, you're a great strategist in your own rights, and you've done a lot of work in understanding the tactics of this game, and the angles are changed on those red stones, but do you feel like maybe they came into the rings just 1 rock too early?
Yeah, you know, they might have come in just 1 rock too soon there. I think if they would have left it a little bit longer, they might not have seen themselves in this position for Team Hennig able to remove multiple.
Austin Hennig here with his first stone in the 3rd end, looking to remove a couple of those Team Hlushak red stones that are clustering the 4-foot and avoiding the jam at the back of the 4. Tons of heat coming out of the hack as Russell calls the line. The double is made, losing the yellow at the back of the 4-foot. And for the time being, Team Hennig is sitting shot stone. So you'll see Peter Hlushak wasting no time here. These games are on thinking time, 34 minutes of it to be exact, with a coach interaction each end, a 4th end break, and an opportunity for our teams to have consultation with their coaches in that transition time between the ends. Peter Hlushak looking to nose and roll a little bit and create that separation, and he does just that. Red sitting 3 with the hammer.
That's a great shot there by Peter Hlushak to create a separation between those red rocks.
So now Austin Hennig with a decision to make. It doesn't look like there's a great double to take on. So how might he go about trying to get the most out of this stone?
So it looks like right now he's trying to play that crosshouse double. It's definitely a bold call. Even hitting this a little thicker and just rolling on top of that Hlushak rock in the 4-foot definitely wouldn't be a bad outcome.
So you're saying he has a few options?
He does, yeah, for sure. But it looks like the one he's elected to throw here is the crosshouse. But there are a few ways to miss here.
Final stone for Team Hennig as they have the 1-point advantage, looking to remove a few red rocks out of play. Hugo Chow with a massive sweep here to keep this stone straight. Does capture a little bit of that top stone that they initially wanted to address, but doesn't have enough of it to remove it. And it will be an open hit for Peter Hlushak and an opportunity to put a 3-ender on the scoreboard. Final stone for Team Hlushak, looking to score 3 and hang a crooked number on the scoreboard. of this 1-2 page playoff here in Leduc, Alberta. He does just that. A 3 will go up on the board. It will be a 3-1 lead with Hennig getting the hammer in the 4th end. We will see you back after a word from our sponsors.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston Pizza at home.
We are back for 4th end play here in our 1-2 page playoff game at the 2025 Curling Alberta Optimist U18 Provincial Championships held in Leduc, Alberta. A cold evening this evening, but there are many games here today as many of our field, or much of our field, has left for home this evening. My name is Evan Asmussen. I'm joined by Abby Whitbread and Hayley Adams. Let's give you an update across our sheets as we are into the playoff process of our provincial championship. Now, I want to remind you all at home that this is a page playoff with the 1st and 2nd seed, like our 2 teams here on our screen, playing for the bye to the final and a spot at the national championship. And the loser of the 1-2 page playoff game will drop down to a semi-final game that will be played tomorrow morning. There are additionally the 3-4 games being played in both the ladies and men's side, with the loser going home and the winner moving in to the semi-final game of the losing team of our 1-2 games. And on the men's side, we have our feature game, and in the 3-4 game, we have Nolan Duncan taking on Evan Clark. And Nolan Duncan putting multiple 2s up on the board, deuce, 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 as he has stolen the first 3 ends to a 6-0 lead against Evan Clark. And if you are having a hard time clicking between the sheets, the ladies' event is also going on simultaneously. And in the 1-2 page playoff game, and with an extra life, we have Abby DeSarmo taking on Lila Cooey. Lila Cooey taking an early 4-2 lead with the 3-ender in the 3rd end. And on sheet D in our 3-4 page playoff game, we have Emma DeSkiffert taking on Elena Yurko, and Elena Yurko putting up a steal of 2 in the 3rd end for a 3-1 lead. And there are a ton of great games going on here in Leduc. So Abby and Hayley, we do see an open end of play here as Team Hennig is trying to generate some offense just after an end where they gave up 3. You see those 2 red stones of Team Hlushak lurking in the rings. And what is Team Hennig going to have to do against the 7-0 Team Hlushak to close down that score gap?
I think just so much more game is left, so just taking it 1 rock at a time, and really important to score here in this even end. That's the goal. So yeah, still so much more game to play, and I They get their couple points here and they're right back in it.
And I think the biggest thing for Team Hennig here is making the most out of mistakes. I think what we've seen here is mistakes being made the wrong way. So if we can figure out here how to make use of mistakes, I think that will be the key to success in this game.
Understanding that tolerance and making sure everyone on the team is aware of that before the throw.
Exactly right.
So a great centerline draw by Varric Depker to completely lose that stone at the top of the button. And some more early end pressure being applied to Austin Hennig as he utilizes Matthew Reiniger to move some granite. Now, Hayley, we've been commentating for the duration of the week, and one thing that we talked about in our last time together was how the top teams have been able to get the most out of their shots and to be a little bit more precise, but getting those pro errors too as well. Is that something that Austin Hennig is going to have to keep in the back of his mind as he's creating those shot selections for his team?
Definitely, yeah. You want to make sure misses are, of course, going to happen, but just making sure you're getting that, missing it the right way and making sure you're getting the most out of that shot is super important. So not just Austin, but the whole team being aware of that for sure, and sweepers as well.
So Matthew Reiniger not able to make contact with that stone at the top of the button, but does roll off his shooter to the side, as the left side of the screen as we see it, and keeping that rock in play. And that is a start to that conversation that we just talked about, leaving that yellow stone in play as two corner guards sit for Team Hennig here with the hammer, trying to generate some momentum and some rocks in play. So that center line guard just left a little bit long by Team Hlushak, thrown by Varric Depker, and an opportunity for Team Hennig to maybe be able to tap this off the button.
Yeah, I think so. We're seeing quite a bit of curls, so I think it's definitely a big opportunity for Team Hennig here. Sweeper's going hard to get it by here. Just on that top red one. Unfortunately, just tapping it into the rings behind cover.
So though that rock was on the center line, that tick rule and the 5 rock rule are no longer in play, as we are many rocks deep here into the 4th end of action, as we see Jackson Hebert with his first stone looking to replace that guard and protect that stone that so far has ownership of the top of the button. Parker Harris really working hard to get some curl out of this stone as that rock approaches the center line. The job well done as fist bumps go all the way around between Depker and Harris.
So Team Hennig calling an aggressive call here to corner freeze. Oh, it looks like they're changing it up to the double peel here.
So is this just Austin looking to make some room, or is he thinking something different?
I think might just be looking for some room here to open up that center line for the rest of the end here, with Hlushak sitting 3. Important to bail out here a little bit, open up that guard zone there.
Yeah, and also taking into consideration that a steal here is definitely not ideal. They definitely cannot afford to give up a steal here, so hoping to open it up for Austin's rocks here.
Preston Russell with the over curl on that double peel attempt. Shooter rolling to the center line, not able to move any red granite off of that center line, including anything in the rings. And trouble a-brewing for Team Hennig as they look to utilize the hammer opportunity. Great shot by Jackson Hebert, leaving that stone at the top of the 8-foot. And just cutting down the scoring area for Team Hennig.
So Team Hennig looking to bail again here and hopefully get rid of both of the rocks on the center line here. A nice shot there from Team Hennig, getting rid of that one on the button, and looks like they caught the one at the back 12 there, so that's a really great shot.
And just like that, Preston Russell able to run that yellow stone in, and 1, 2, and 3 red stones being removed out of play. An excellent shot by Preston Russell and Team Hennig as they look to utilize their hammer here in the 4th end. Getting that stone off of the button was really important, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a key shot there.
So not out of the woods yet. Team Hlushak still able to provide some pressure here. With his first stone, looking to get that rock over to the center line. Varric Depker looking to sweep it for some curl to get more coverage of that stone in the top of the 8-foot, and they do just that as brooms are raised and high fives are given.
Yeah,
Team Hennig finds themselves in the same position, and sorry I cut you off.
No, all good. That's in a really good spot there. Team Hennig looking at limited options for their next shot here.
So Hayley, do you think maybe a change of tactic is in order? I don't know if they're going to be able to remove all these red stones as they'd please. Would you ever consider starting to promote some of those yellows, or is just keeping the draw opportunity alive for Team Hennig the most important outcome at the time?
I think that's still the main goal here. I think they've committed to those run backs early, so just keeping that going through the end. And if you do begin to promote those yellows there, it might just continue to shrink off those options for Austin's last throws. So I do like playing something in the middle here.
So both Team Hennig and Team Hlushak coming with a ton of their own team experience, but a lot of experience coming in the resources of who they've chosen to bring with them as coaches. And Chris Power is a long-time coach, not only of his own kids, but a big proponent of youth development and curling in our province. And Reg Reinhardt coaching for the duration of his life, at least that I've known him for, and across many facets into the juvenile age, junior, and into men's and ladies play. They both come well equipped with great resources. And those coaches' interactions are going to be important as the game proceeds. Austin Hennig looking to make some room here with his first stone. Electing to use his own yellow stone rather than running the red Hlushak rock into play. Hits the high side and ricochets, but does promote that top 12 stone even further into the top of the 4, leaving a yellow rock just biting onto the 12-foot, but 2 stones definitely well established for Team Hlushak. You can see by Hugo Chow's body language, he's trying to keep himself positive and going, but definitely not the result that they would have wanted from that shot after having consultation with Chris Power. So sweepers back and forth here at the wait call to Jackson Hebert in the house, trying to find the optimal spot for this stone. Parker Harris on the curl sweep, looking to get to across the face and underneath. Red sits 3 for the time being, and any possibility of capturing the 4-foot for Team Hennig looks to be out the window. So Abby, now what do you do? You're Team Hennig. You're looking at this setup here. It doesn't look great, at least from our overhead camera, but...
No, I'm wondering right now, can they even score?
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like with this angle, you might be able to get rid of those 2 off of the 4-foot, but I think your shooter spills up and that top 8 rock still scores, so... I think their best option here is to limit Team Hlushak to 1, unfortunately.
So in doing that, they might, or they should be hitting that stone to the left of the one at the top of the 4?
Yes.
Final rock here, and we see some heat coming out of Austin. Hennig looking to make some granite move. He does make contact with that left stone, but it does roll just a little too far, and it will be a steal of 1, 2 for sure, maybe 3 with that counter at the back of the 8-foot. As we go into the 5th end and our 4th end break, we will have a score update for you for sure when we come back.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
You got one, you got two, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
So we are live in Leduc, Alberta through Curling Stadium and our Curling Alberta YouTube page. It is the 2025 Optimist U18 Provincial Championship. We do have our feature game of Team Hlushak versus Team Hennig in our 1-2 page playoff. And let's give you a score update. As you can see, our teams just wrapping up their conversations with their coaches, having a little bit of a break, getting some electrolytes in them. So let's take a look across the sheets. In our 3-4 page playoff game, we have Evan Clark taking on Nolan Duncan. Now, Evan Clark comes in as the third seed with the hammer to start this game, and so far has not been able to utilize that hammer to his advantage, as he has given up 1, 2, 3, 4 steals of 2 and finds him now 8 points back to Team Duncan in a very important win or bust game in the 3-4 page playoff game. And we do have our feature sheet of Team Hlushak and Team Hennig, and it looks like we're going to put 2 up on the scoreboard to start, but we will confirm the score for you as we move forward. Our ladies side is also going on simultaneously as Team Lila Cooey goes into the 1-2 page playoff game. And of course, you know that last name very, very well. She is the daughter herself of Kevin Cooey, and she finds herself tied up after 4 ends against second seed Abby DeZarmo. It is 4-4 apiece, looking to start off their second half of the game in the 1-2 game on the ladies' side. Now, in that lose or bust game on the ladies' side, it is the 3-4 page playoff game. We have Emma DeSkiffert, who was leading the pack up until the last couple of games here in our round robin. She finds herself down to Elena Yurko early in the 4th end. It is 4-1 for Team Yurko, with the loser of that game going home and the winner taking on whoever drops out of the 1-2 game. Abby, there is a familiar name being called across the sheets as I'm listening into this men's game. I'm hearing Molly. So tell us a little bit about the connection that you have to some of these teams.
Yeah, so Hayley and I both have sisters on Team DeZormo there, Molly being my younger sister and Cameron being Hayley's younger sister.
So safe to say that they put you in this game because there may have been some biased commentary.
Yeah, it might have been a conflict of interest there.
Or maybe you would have just been a little bit harder on the two of those athletes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's also probably
I'm her
likely.
harshest critic.
For sure.
So there's lots of family connections here and lots of great curling going on. You can see the Leduc Curling Club thinning out a little bit as half of our field has went home after today's round robin game being played at 11 o'clock. We have Parker Harris starting us off in the 5th end with his first stone. It is so far a little bit of a lead for Team Hlushak over Team Hennig, the number 1 seed coming into this weekend. Not in unfamiliar territory. And I think Team Hennig wouldn't say they'd find themselves in unfamiliar territory here with a tough Team Hlushak, but they are going to have to work to get themselves tighter on the scoreboard. Abby, what are some things that Team Hennig is going to have to really focus in for the second half of this game?
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to start playing a little bit more aggressive. We've seen quite a bit of hitting from them. They're definitely going to need to utilize those guards that they have been throwing. Ignoring a few Hlushak rocks, but making sure they're not getting into too much trouble like last time and allowing them to guard those rocks on the button.
And Hayley, we had a conversation during the 4th end break about shot selection, but more specifically weight selection, as we saw Austin Hennig throw quite the heater on his last stone. Now walk us through a little bit of that thinking, or maybe some alternatives that Hennig is going to have to take into the second half of the game in thinking about weight selection.
For sure, when you're down in points, you want to make sure you're playing weights that are manageable and always keeping that shooter in play to get the most out of your shot. So maybe just played a hair too much weight there on that last rock, and a more control weight could have been easily managed by the sweepers and would have only allowed Hlushak that score of 1 there. But just changing that mindset here and just making sure they're getting the most out of each of their shots here.
And well said by our color commentators in Abby Whitbread and Hayley Adams. My name is Evan Asmussen, and we do see Hugo Chow slide that corner guard attempt into the rings as they're looking to generate some offense. Team Hlushak with an early advantage in this fifth end, sitting 2 rocks in our rings. But we do have a lot of game left to play. However, trying to score multiples might now be more of an idea that Hennig is going to have to navigate.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll start seeing a little bit less weight thrown on these shots. Where Team Hennig needs to keep as many shooters in the house as possible here, so I imagine not as many hits, more so taps.
Abby, we saw in the first couple of ends the incredible control that Team Hlushak has with Varric Depker and Jackson Hebert in throwing that big weight. How is Team Hennig going to have to make sure that those big takeout shots and those granite moving attempts are a little bit more challenging for Varric and Jackson as they move deeper into this fifth end?
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to be very precise with their angles and the setup. And especially with Hammer here playing to the wing, definitely makes it a little more difficult to play that big weight. So definitely a little bit more precision from Team Hennig here, and that should hopefully prevent that.
So Varric Depker with his first attempt at being able to cover up that stone at the top of the button by Parker Harris, and it does seem to come a little bit shorter than they anticipated. It does do its job. But the scoreboard is starting to reminisce the first time they met this week, where Hlushak came out of that in draw number 1 with a 9-1 win. And do you think that's maybe playing in the back of the minds of Team Hennig?
For sure, yeah, it's such a mental game, and just when you get down, it's so easy to overthink your shots. But that's in the past. That was a few days ago, and just making sure everyone understands it's a new game, still got curling left to play, and just sticking with their strategy and hoping to get some points on the board here.
Ultimately taking one shot at a time here.
Great advice from Abby and Hayley as Matthew is unable to retain his shooter in the rings, removing that red stone out of play that was in the 12-foot by Team Hlushak. Now another opportunity to establish a really great rock in the control zone. And it seems like Hlushak has had advantage of the control zone for most of this game. Talk about the importance of that area when it comes to U18 play.
Yeah, that control zone is super important for U18 especially, but every level of curling. Slipping back house with a lead here definitely gives Team Hennig major advantage with the ability to freeze and ultimately setting up multiples. So super important to stay top house so you do have that opportunity to run rocks back or use them for later.
So a great draw by Varric Depker as they look to keep complicating this end and putting pressure on Team Hennig with the hammer. And we see Austin Hennig walk up to that long center guard, trying to keep things clear for his team. So an early curl sweep here being asked by Preston Russell. It comes off of the yellow and rolls itself into the rock just thrown previously by Varric Depker. overlapping it, and not the result that Team Hennig would have wanted out of that stone.
Evan, would you ever be hesitant to be playing the peel, being down 4 with hammer?
You know, that's a really good question, and in the back of my mind as Team Hennig, I'm trying to find ways to keep my rocks in play, but also recognizing that I do have to move some of those red stones. And I might have been tempted, because that red guard was so long, to maybe navigate the port and to use it to my advantage and maybe play and address that top 8 stone and push it back to kind of create like a little bit of a nest.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's important to take into consideration where those guards are. If it was a little tighter, I could see, but I think just being over the hog line there, I would lean more towards playing the rocks in the house.
So we see a coach's interaction come from Chris Power as this end is slowly starting to turn more favorable for Team Hlushak. And going back to our little conversation and the question you asked me, I think sometimes we get caught in this mindset of, well, I just got to be able to score. But to be able to score, we also need to have rocks in play. And sometimes our opposition stones, even though they're not super favorable, can be used to our advantage. And right now, Team Hennig needs to find a way to at least put 2 points on the board, if not find a way to hang a crooked number. And that means maybe leaving around some of those guards and making some more precise attempts at those rocks at the top of the rings. Just even recognizing how vital having control of that control zone is. So a double peel, being able to remove the red stone and the shooter stone. And I guess that was only a single peel. One yellow guard remaining very high up there. It's out of our view in the overhead camera, but 3 red stones still remain, cutting down that scoring area. And Jackson Hebert. So finding a little bit of curl to get that rock to cover that situation up on the forefoot. And now Dyer for Team Hennig to start moving some red granite. Unfortunately, it looks like they'll have to use the red stone just thrown by Hebert as it's closer to the rings. So run back attempt by Preston Russell, just over curling the face of that red stone, removing both stones out of play. The rocks go unchanged in the house. And you know what, Hayley, it is kind of a fine line, isn't it, between trying to keep the game close and trying to take some risks. And you hate to pressure Team Hennig into making some more finesse decisions because there is still a lot of game left. But as it looks right now, it may be an uphill battle for them if they aren't able to score. So how do you navigate not giving the game away early on when there's still tons of game to play?
Definitely, it is a fine line, but I think in making those more finesse shots, like some of their peels earlier, maybe their shooters could have been used and rolled to a easier position for later on the end, like rolling those center peels to the corner, or just, yeah, trying to get a little more out of those shots, because those, just making those center peels just keeps giving Hlushak that opportunity.
Absolutely, and it's also left a bit of a limited draw path for Austin on hit last here.
So it looks like Austin is going to attempt to play this run back again and try to remove that granite. We know Austin can throw the weight, as we just saw it in the last end prior to the break, but you know, I might be curious if I'm Austin. You don't want to let the game get too far out of control, and this shot here does suggest that it keeps the game going for at least another end, but maybe trying to draw to the side of the button might be in his favor right now.
Yeah, I think that would be, especially considering he's more than likely going to be playing the draw on his next. To lock in that draw weight would probably be an ideal shot here.
So sweeper's off. The run back is made, taking off that top red stone at the top of the 12, keeping their corner guard over off to the side. Hlushak still sits 1-2, but it is significantly more open than it was before. But I don't know if that top 12 rock was the one you really wanted to catch. I think you wanted to make sure you made contact with at least that rock in the 8 foot.
I think so. I'm wondering if you can, since that guard is so high, I'm wondering if you can get around it with the intern and just tap that rock out of the 4 foot for your single.
So for our viewers at home, because of the camera angle, which our crew is doing an exceptional job at managing, you might not be able to see it head on, and you might not be able to see the depth of those stones, but Abby and Hayley are both recognizing that that yellow guard that's just off the center line and out of our overhead view is very close to the hog line, leaving a lot of room to maybe get to the face of that stone in the 4 foot and tap it back for a single. An excellent shot here by Peter Hlushak to not only put another rock in that control zone, but it actually over curled the center line out to the other side, taking away that shot that we just saw completely away.
Yeah, that's a great throw there.
Yeah. And this is going to be another tough score for Team Hennig, as if they only make the double, their shooter, the rock thrown by Austin, appears that it won't be shot stone. Now, is there ever a triple, Abby, here?
Definitely super tough. It is there. I would lean towards saying no, but
so Austin Hennig with his final stone in end number 5, trying to keep the game close, trying to keep his team's hopes alive of getting that direct by right into the final with a win here. A heater, as Hugo Chow is sweeping the heck out of it, is able to make the double and roll away, leaving one Hlushak stone at the top of the 4 foot. It is a steal of one, and Hlushak will take a 6-1 lead going in to our 6th end of play.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Absolutely.
And absolutely, we are back here for the sixth end action of our 1-2 page playoff game at the U18 Optimist and Curling Alberta Provincial Championship. We are in the chilly and frigid Leduc, Alberta. We have Abby and Hayley on site. My name is Evan Asmussen. And we have Team Hlushak taking a demanding 6-1 lead over Team Hennig. Not all is lost, as we know that the loser of this game will still be in contention for a national spot and a spot in tomorrow's final, but they may have to run the course of a very strong team in the 3-4 game, as Team Duncan has also taken a 10-0 commanding lead over Team Evan Clark in a winner-takes-all 3-4 game. Abby and Hayley, we have seen a ton of rocks in play come out of Team Hlushak, and we've seen Team Hennig really working to try to manage it. And again, we go back to our key points for the game for Team Hennig and really making sure they keep their rocks in at least some kind of position or in playable position to be utilized later. And that part of their game is slowly escaping them.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Team Hennig is playing a little bit more aggressive. I think even last time we still saw quite a bit of defensive play with all the peels. So a little bit more aggressive here.
And not to minimize the work of Team Hlushak, we recognize throughout the course of this week that the teams that are here on this evening of play are the teams who have been able to not only learn from their experience in the round robin, but are able to get the most out of every shot and be that much more precise. And we are seeing a very confident Team Hlushak tonight, are we not?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So corner guard did go up by Hugo Chow from Team Hennig, being asked to ignore that stone, I believe, in the top of the 8-foot. Am I biting my tongue? I'm biting my tongue because we are playing the hit and roll. And I lied, and I've done a little bit of that this week, but we are playing the hit and roll on that top 8-foot stone, trying to get buried underneath the corner guard that he threw with his first stone. And does it hang on? And it looks like it just does over on the side of the 12-foot. So I know it can be daunting, and we do see a very confident Team Hlushak tonight, and Team Hennig would have expected that coming into the 1-2 game because of their record of 7-0 and previously meeting each other in draw number 1. But we alluded to it a couple of ends ago that for Team Hennig to be able to get themselves closer on the scoreboard, they are going to have to ignore and utilize some of those Team Hlushak stones. How do they need to do that, Abby, if we are going to see this game go to 8 ends?
Yeah, we're definitely going to need a few more guards and definitely taking advantage of that 5-rock rule, getting as many guards up as possible before Team Hlushak can start peeling and then start making your move in. So I think Team Hennig might have gone 1 rock too early there with the hit and roll. But yeah, so definitely taking advantage of guards for sure.
And Hayley, when we were doing our last broadcast together, we really talked about how advantageous it is to not only have the coaches behind the sheet, but also having our production by Tim and Oliver here and the live streaming by Curling Stadium to look back on. And if Hennig does drop this game, do you think that they might look back and utilize this broadcast to kind of take a look and see where they can grow as they enter the semifinals?
For sure, I think during this event here, the coaches might take on that role of reviewing the video and just dialing in on what may have gone a little bit wrong here. And definitely as a team, it's important to have those post-event debriefs and get all together and to watch that video. And really, you see a lot more when you watch yourself play on video for sure, and just to perfect their play for the rest of their season.
Now, usually when I'm going back to the tape on the live stream or taking a look at any time we're broadcast on YouTube, I'm usually checking to see if my love handles are seeping over the top of my curling pants, and 9 out of 10 times they are. But you are right. This opportunity to kind of re-watch yourself and get a little bit more information is definitely advantageous to all teams, and we aren't counting Team Hennig out of this yet, as it is only a 6-1 decision for Team Hlushak. Team Hennig does have the hammer in the almighty 6th end, and Abby, talk to us a little bit about what that will mean for Team Hennig if they want to take this to 8 ends, maybe even 9 ends of play.
Yeah, definitely having hammer in the home ends is super important. It definitely helps, especially in that 8th end, having hammer coming home. If the score does tighten up here, that's super important to have that last rock and hopefully be able to take the win with the last rock.
And with this rock, we had Jackson Hebert able to remove that yellow stone out of play and just narrowly missing the jam at the back of the 12-foot. Team Hennig does, for the moment, sit shot stone at the side of the 4-foot and looking to split the rings. Preston Russell with his first stone in the 6th end. And even if this rock is made, Hayley, we have been noticing, specifically at the U18 level, how hard it is to maintain the separation when the house is open like this. And a great shot by Preston Russell.
Definitely a nice hit and roll here from Hlushak to bring those rocks closer together would make holding on to that deuce pretty tough for Team Hennig.
Jackson Hebert throwing an out turn here, looking to get a little bit of an inside flip and try to cluster it, like you said, Hayley, and close down that gap that they have. Gets the inside part of the stone and does roll, however, overrolls to behind the back of the 8-foot and behind that yellow shot stone for Team Hennig. And this is the kind of setup that Hennig needs, don't they, Abby?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So Preston Russell looking to replicate his first stone here in the 6th end. Sweepers on this early, recognizing the line looks pretty good and just making sure that that speed is maintained. As you see Matthew down with the pressure clean, you might see Hugo try to get a little bit more curl out of this shot, and it looks to be perfect. Well done and a great team shot as Team Hennig looks to put a deuce up on the scoreboard for the first time this game. So a hit and roll attempt here by Peter Hlushak. He does get the inside roll and gets enough of a roll to be shot rock in the 4-foot. And Team Hennig now going to have to address that redstone just thrown by Peter Hlushak.
Yeah, Austin has to be very careful here with this roll because you do have to make sure your second shot after this to make sure you secure your 2. But you also want to make sure you're rolling far enough away that you're not leaving a double for Peter.
So we do have a score update coming out of the men's field here in our 3-4 page playoff game, as Evan Clark is able to put 1 point up on the scoreboard, and Team Clark will bow out of the event as they drop a 10-1 decision to Team Duncan. They will finish with a very confident 4th place finish at our U18 Provincial Championship, as Team Duncan will move forward into the semifinal, awaiting the loser of our feature game in tomorrow morning's match.
Yeah, and that's a very impressive showing from Team Clark. This was their very first U18 Provincial, so that's a great result for this young team.
So Austin Hennig here looking to make the hit attempt and keep his rock away from the other yellow stone, and does over curl to the top of the button. And a little bit of separation between these two yellow stones, but does it look like there's a double?
Yeah, I think you might be able to get rid of both of those there, especially with the weight that Peter can throw. I think both of them should be able to disappear after this shot.
So it's not made yet for Peter Hlushak, as we do see those 2 red stones of his team in and behind at the back of the 12, back 8 foot. So he is going to need to make sure that he hits the high side or the broom side of this stone to avoid jamming it. Peter Hlushak, final stone in end number 6. He catches the high side, but just too little of it rolling underneath that yellow stone, and it will be a draw opportunity for 2 for Team Hennig. So I do want to make a comment towards Team Duncan as we have the 3-4 game in mind. Team Duncan found themselves at 0-2 in their record early on in this event after the first draw of play, and they have been able to roll off a series of wins afterwards to find themselves in the semifinal of our provincial championship. So tons of great curling going on in Leduc as Austin Hennig gets ready to throw his final stone and to hang the first multiple for Team Hennig up on tonight's scoreboard. Sweepers do like this as they're guiding the stone. Austin traveling alongside that to make sure he's got a good look at what this rock is doing. They use a little bit of their stone to catch it. It is 2 points up on the scoreboard, and the score now goes 6-3 with Hlushak taking the hammer into the 7th end. We'll catch you back after our commercials.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
We welcome you back to our feature game and the 1-2 page playoff of our 2025 Optimist U18 Provincial Championship. Abby Whitbread, Hayley Adams, myself, Evan Asmussen, on the call for you tonight, as we have Team Hlushak taking a 6-3 lead with the hammer into the 7th end. Team Hennig picking up their first deuce of the game as they try to get some momentum and rally to give themselves an opportunity to come out on top against Team Hlushak. And a perfect center line guard thrown by Hugo Chow to start off this end.
Now I imagine we'll see a double center here from Team Hennig.
So a great shot by Parker Harris as he looks to close down that scoring zone and get one rock in there early. And Austin Hennig choosing to ignore the double center being down in the scoreboard and asking Hugo Chow to freeze to the stone that Parker Harris just threw. So a missed call on the sweep as that rock just over curls and chips that yellow rock, rolling open to the side of the 8-foot. And though a great start on the first one, I don't know if that's what they had on their bingo card to start this end off, being 3 points down without the hammer. Great hit by Parker Harris. Abby and Hayley, you have played in this level of competition, working your way up through U15, U18, U20, and exploring ladies play. This kind of looks to me like a little bit of inexperience is showing. Now, of course, I've been out of the U18 and U20 realm for quite some time now, but just a little bit of lack of precision and maybe lack of awareness by Team Hennig as they are down in the scoreboard here in the 7th end in some of their shot selections.
Yeah, I think it might just come from the inexperienced parts, as I'm pretty sure this is Austin's first time skipping, so still learning the strategy of the game for sure.
Varric Depker looking to remove that center line guard out of play and start cleaning up the end for Team Hlushak as they try to continue that gap on the scoreboard. Now, I'm not going to say that this game is over, because it isn't over until the last rock is thrown or until the cows come home, or however you want to frame it for yourself. But if you're Team Hennig, you still got a couple of ends to play, but if it doesn't work out in your favor, recognizing that they have a very strong and momentous team in Team Duncan coming off a massive win, what keys might they take away from this game if they find themselves in the semifinal tomorrow morning?
I think definitely learning from mistakes and also using what they have learned from this season in their next games.
And also playing Team Duncan already in the event, they should know what to expect there. And it's, if they do happen to drop this game here, it's just all about resetting and refocusing and understanding you do have that additional chance there. And
exactly right.
So as we see Austin Hennig making a decision with this stone coming into our view, I will update you on our games on the ladies' side, as we do know that the 3-4 game on the men's side has come to a final decision. In our 3-4 game on the ladies' side between Emma DeSkifford and Elena Yurko coming in as the 3rd seed and DeSkifford coming in as the 4th seed. Elena Yurko able to maintain the lead at 5-2, playing the 7th end. That game is a winner takes all into the semi-final tomorrow morning. And in our 1-2 page playoff game, Lila Cooey coming in as the 1st seed and Abby DeSarmo coming in as the 2nd seed. Abby DeSarmo able to capture a deuce in the 6th end and take a 6-5 lead over Lila Cooey. And that game is going to come down to the wire for sure. Tons of games still left for all the teams out on the sheets here in Leduc. And all of these games are brought to you by our production crew of Tim and Oliver Burton and our crew at Curling Stadium through our Curling Alberta YouTube page, where you can find us through the Curling Zone link. Our feature game of Team Hlushak versus Team Hennig. And Hennig really working to keep some pressure on Hlushak and to find a way to steal a point or two this end if possible. So the Hennig stone just thrown, not covering the rock in the top of the 8-foot, but no consequence there, as they are trying to chip away with a couple of steals here for the duration of the game, looking to throw that stone on the center line and give themselves an opportunity to bury a rock with Austin's last one. That rock is peeled away by Jackson Hebert, and Austin is going to look to replace it.
Change of turns here for Austin.
So Austin Hennig with the center line guard, and you did mention a change of turns, and we've seen Austin do that a couple of times this evening. The thought process on that, Abby, as he's looking to put this stone, I thought maybe as a center line guard, but maybe it looks like they're making the adjustment to bring it into the top of the rings, or just get it closer there. The thought process on changing turns for Austin Hennig.
Yeah, in this case, I'm not really too sure. I think maybe he was thinking if he missed a little heavy, he was to that red one.
Could be the thought, yeah.
It.
So Peter Hlushak is going to take a crack at this double and try to remove those two yellow stones out of play, if not off the center line, as they do have the hammer and a 3-point lead. Peter Hlushak.
That's a nice shot there from Peter Hlushak.
So again, we talked about, as Austin almost took a tumble there, we do talk about these teams and these teams earning their right to be here through their record in round robin play, but these teams that are going to prove themselves ready to play at our national championship as Team Alberta representatives are the ones that are just that much more precise, and we are seeing that exemplified straight through the lineup of Team Hlushak.
Yeah, and we've been seeing so much consistency from this team.
So Team Hennig's final rock in end number 7. There is one red stone in play. Looking to draw around that red stone, utilizing it as a guard. And trying to find the back of the forefoot and to make Peter Hlushak's final stone a little bit more complex. Sweepers are off it, recognizing it is a little bit heavy coming into the rings. It will find itself a home at the back of the 12-foot, but an open draw opportunity for Team Hlushak. And I'm assuming that if we see 2 points go up on the board for the red team, that we might see handshakes.
Yeah, I imagine you'd probably be right there.
So again, as a reminder for our folks at home and for our people who are going to tune in after the broadcast, the winner of this game is going to head off to the final of our U18 Provincial Championship, and they will be a guaranteed berth into the U18 National Championship in Saskatchewan later on this year. However, they will still have one more game to play in that final, and they will get the morning off as the semifinals will be played at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And it is 2 points. We do see Austin Hennig and his team with handshakes all around. It will go up as an 8-3 win for Team Hlushak. And that is our page playoff game. So Abby and Hayley, I thank you so much for joining me this evening and for entertaining us with your action commentary. We will have live coverage brought to you for both the semifinal and the final game tomorrow morning beginning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We will see Team Hennig back on the ice against Team Duncan on the men's side. As the ladies' side is still being yet determined, you can go over to the links in Curling Alberta's YouTube channel or through Curling Stadium and Curling Zone if you want to capture the last little bit of those ends. My name is Evan Asmussen. This is my last game for our U18 weekend. I thank you so much for entertaining us and for listening into our commentary. I want to thank Tim and Oliver Burton for their work in our production crew, for Justice and his work in the event, and for the Leduc Curling Club so far. That is our page playoff game as we look to wrap up this event tomorrow on Monday. Have a lovely evening. Stay warm, stay safe, and there's still more great curling to come. Take it away to commercial.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston Pizza at home.